So as far as like how to set up for the crossover turn, the biggest key component is knowing your stroke count. And I think to a lot of coaches, that sounds like easy, like it's not hard, but making sure your swimmers are super consistent with their stroke count is a whole nother ball game. I always tell swimmers to work on a stroke count that's plus or minus one standard deviation of where they like to be. And with that, that means that you could land on a different arm. And for a crossover turn, you really want to land on the same arm that you prefer every time. I've had swimmers ask me, should I be able to do this turn on both arms? And my response is no, because the way that you push off the wall is always opposite of the way that you touch the wall. So if you push off and you set up correctly, you're going to push off the way that you like to push off the wall when you roll for a freestyle flip turn. And if you decide to switch your arms, you're going to push off the opposite way, which is like trying to turn left when you really prefer to turn right. So I don't think being ambidextrous in this turn is advantageous to swimmers. I think it's either nail the turn on the proper side, get the best you can out of this turn, or back it down into one of the other 3 transition turns that are out there. You can always fall back on a touch and go. It's going to be slower, but you're going to get a really good push from a touch and go. That your push might be messed up if you're rolling in the other direction, or the more uncommon direction for you to go. So you do want to hit with the top arm. This is opposite of side kicking. So a lot of times when you tell swimmers top arm, they'll put their bottom arm up like they're kicking on their side. So I put this picture up there of me coming into the wall so you can see the difference. When you're working on crossover turns, you got to work on top arm up and over and then bottom arm down. It doesn't matter which side they want to be on, but it truly still is on their side with the top arm up and the bottom arm down. You want a big body bend. For some swimmers, that's a lot larger than others. But overall, you want to see a bend here where the swimmer with the top arm is reaching really deep on the wall. And their belly button and hips need to be perpendicular to the water surface or a little bit more open, kind of like this picture here. You can see how I'm kind of going into the wall. So you've got wiggle room to that 90-degree angle to the water surface, and then anything smaller than that 90-degree angle, you'll get into is this a DQ as you're coming into your approach. So I would start a swimmer looking more like a backstroke finish, and then start getting them closer to that 90 degrees here, because what they have to do is hold that 90 degrees the entire time until the hand touches, and then once they touch, they can roll to their stomach. Biggest thing I can tell you is the distance that you have between hand touch and head is probably the most important thing about a crossover turn. If you don't have enough space, you won't have enough space to literally flip your feet over your head, which is going to cause you to be really jammed on the wall, like if you were to jam a freestyle flip turn. So you really need to make sure that the arm is up over the head, the elbow is fully extended, the body is also reaching, you're going down, which creates a little bit more distance in the side body, and you're going for like the middle of the T right there. So as I'm coming into the pool, I'm on my side and then I'm reaching low, and then I stabilize my hand. I flip my feet over my head like I would for a flip turn, and then I go on my merry way. This hand touch does help stabilize the body for a second. So if we slow that down here, what you'll see is as I'm coming into the wall, I'm going to hit this wall, and I'm actually going to hit it with my fingertips and then my palm. And what that's going to do is stop me, eventually from coming any closer to the wall. So if you think about it, if you start with not enough arm length, you see how I start with a straight arm here, I'm still going to be generating and carrying speed. I mean, not generating, but carrying my speed and that momentum I had from the surface towards the wall. So this hand has to kind of stop so you can create a distance between head and wall. that if you started with this angle, I would travel even further in towards the wall, which once again would not give me enough distance. So work with your swimmers for approaches on kicking with arm up over your head, but the arm that's up over your head is actually fairly straight. That is going to be super helpful for when they actually get into doing crossover turns. And working on having really solid approaches.